There we go. So Indiana Children in Nature Network, we're glad to have you here. We're talking about getting outside with tweens and teens. I'm Dr. Carla Gull. I am the state coordinator for Indiana Children in Nature Network. This is a volunteer position that I do, and part of that's through the Indiana Master Naturalist program as well, why I'm doing some of those volunteer hours. But I really do a lot of focus on children and nature play in general. And as a mother of 4 boys who are in these tweens and teens, this is a very pertinent subject to myself. And I thought that there were other parents out there that might like to have some more information about figuring out how to get outside as we go through these changes with tweens and teens. So just as kind of our agenda today, we're going to do just a quick introduction to ICAN, a little bit about characteristics of tweens and teens, and then we're going to hear from some organization representatives, Jody Heaton and Angela Fitzgerald, and excited to hear what they have to share with us. We'll go through some question and answers while they're here. They're welcome to stay or leave after that. And then we'll talk about why should tweens and teens get outside, some challenges and opportunities around that, and then some tips for getting outside, and then some resources and options. We really have a lot of opportunities within the state if we take advantage of them. So Indiana Children Nature Network, this is part of the Environmental Educators Association of Indiana. We really try to have state-specific resources local to Indiana, just to help anything around connecting children, families, individuals with nature. And we host nature play days every year. We'll have similar dates to this in 2023, like the second week of June or so. Encourage you to think about hosting one. And then we also have a pledge to play outside 30 minutes a day. And we'll talk about some tips and strategies to do that with our teens, because they can get outside too, and they can play too. So just as far as our mission goes, our mission really is to just kind of help that connection of children, families, and communities to the natural environment. We really like to focus on those physical, emotional, intellectual benefits of spending time outdoors, and also building that lifelong love of nature as part of it. We do this a few different ways. We raise awareness of the benefits. We promote these unstructured play and time outdoors. And then we try to have a lot of different diverse networks of people and facilitating collaborations, which is why we're very grateful to have other organizations that are working with teens and tweens to share some of the opportunities with that as well. So let's see. Okay, so we will keep going. And you can see this picture here. This is actually one of my son's friends. But when he comes over, my 13-year-old will spend easily 3 hours outdoors when he's there. And so you find the right friend and you don't have to do a whole lot. They'll just go spend time outside together. And I love it. I love that they'll just kind of get immersed into that outdoor time, and they go fishing, they go exploring, they go follow the stream. I don't know what all they do, but they spend a lot of time outside when they're doing it. I do want to just kind of share a little bit about a new initiative that we have as part of Indiana Children Nature Network. And this is the Ambassador Program. And it is where we have people throughout the state that are doing things like hosting nature play days, or just spreading the word and awareness in the message of ICAN, which is promoting getting children and families outside. If you're interested in this, feel free to reach out to me with any questions. We have a sign up by Monday, September 5th, and I can share the link with that as well if you're interested in doing it. And then we'll have some training dates on September 8th and September 10th. You can choose either one. It's not a huge commitment. I find that most of the people that are sharing this with us, that are applying for it, are already getting people outside. And so this is just kind of adding on a small layer of sharing a message from Indiana Children Nature Network as part of it. So as far as teenagers go, I don't know about you all. I know I'm a mother, and we're reaching these kind of years when they're kind of just being a little less pleasant to be around sometimes. Not all the time. Lots of times they're sweet and interesting, all those things, but they're kind of pushing the boundaries to see where they fit. So you can see here early adolescents, 10 to 14-year-olds of age. They're kind of testing some of the limits and rules that are there. It says here they may experiment some with cigarettes, marijuana, alcohol. Maybe it just depends on the child, but this is when some of this starts, kind of thing. And they also can think more abstractly, and they start thinking beyond the concrete because mom said you said so or whatever. They may be more interested in future and that cognitive development. So they're looking at careers. While they're looking at career interests, they're focused on the present and near future, and they are able to do more work as part of that. And then their identity is emerging. They've got internal, external influences. They might be a little bit moody. I see that. They can express themselves more, and they might use actions more than words to show their feelings. And this says it may be more true for males. I see eye roll sometimes. Close friendships become more important. There's not as much attention shown to parents. Sometimes there's a little bit of rudeness with it. They realize that we as parents are not perfect, and they start identifying their faults, and they're looking for people outside their family bubble beyond their parents to have relationships with. Sometimes when they're stressed, they might go back to some of those childish behaviors, and that peer group is just kind of more influential on some of their interests and clothing styles and such. As they move into 15 and 16-year-olds, kind of that middle adolescence, they are really getting more involved in themselves. They kind of get unrealistically high expectations, but then also get worried about the future. They complain about parents interfering with their independence. They get concerned with their body and what it looks like. They feel strange about all these changes going on. They may not think of highly as their parents and withdraw from them a bit. They may make efforts to make new friends and put a lot of emphasis on that new peer group. They may be sad at times as that loss of having that closer relationship with their parents takes place. This is making me sad. It's part of growing up. I keep telling myself, like, their brains are not fully formed yet. But they may be kind of looking more inwardly, like writing in a diary or something of that sort. They have more interest in intellectual pursuits, and they're seeing more aggressive energies and changes with their body. Sometimes anxiety emerges more related to school and academic performance. They're also kind of looking at those ideals and role models, and they have a greater goal setting capacity and can do more they can do more with moral reasoning, I guess you could say. As we move into that late adolescence, their identity is kind of firming up. They can delay their gratification a little bit. They think through ideas more. They can express their ideas in words. They have a sense of humor that's more developed. They can make more independent decisions. They can compromise more. I see that a lot with my oldest. They take pride in the work that they're doing. They're becoming more reliant on themselves. They may be more concerned about others. This does still take to 21 years old sometimes, but they start thinking more about the future. They're looking more at those work habits, and just they're thinking about where they are as far as their own role in life. They're also have a lot of insight that's useful. They look at personal dignity and self-esteem. They set goals and follow through. They recognize the social institutions and cultural traditions, and they can handle their kind of self-esteem a little bit more. So that just kind of helps us kind of see what's going on in all these brains and bodies of our tweens and teens, just as a little snapshot of some of it. Of course, these ages shift a little bit depending on the child. I did want to go ahead and have Jody and Angela are here with us to share a little bit. We were going to have a couple other people, but they're not going to. I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing so that they can share. And Jody, so I met Jody through the Indiana Master Naturalist program, and there is a junior and teen IMN program. We'll let her share a little bit more about that and tell us about it.
Okay. All right. Well, I have some slides that I want to show as I'm talking about this. So I'll get that going here. Right. So I'm going to share some things here too. All right. So, yeah, like Carla said, we have what's called the Indiana Master Naturalist program. It's been going on in the state since 2002. So this is our 20th year of doing this. It originally was designed for adults, kind of the template was from the Master Gardeners. Only the Master Naturalist program is a curriculum-based program where any natural resource agency or non-for-profit can host this program. We do have a council that needs to approve who can host and if they are able to, so they have to submit an application. But again, the curriculum base has certain specific topics that need to be taught. It was so popular that many of the adults wanted their teens or younger people to take this class and learn what they learned, because we try to be very hands-on when we have these adults take the classes. So we did design the program, and with the program, we decided to do a junior IMN class, and then we have advanced, and then we have a teen, and then we have advanced teen. So just some quick little tidbits on what's going on. So our junior Master Naturalist is for the 9 to 12-year-olds, and then the teens are for the 13 to 17. Now, kind of like Carla, I have three girls, and they're 10, 16, and 19. So I'm living the world of the tweens and teens right now. And so having this program is really exciting for me. We were able to, these host sites, for example, we have state parks, Purdue Extensions, we have Soil and Water, we have some other non-for-profits that will host these teen camps. A lot of them are in the summertime, and they're hosted in 1 week time. There's enough time to do all the curriculum in 1 week for these kids, and at the end of the week they earn their certificate and pin and patches, and it's really fun. The kids just get so excited. So since we started this program, so we started the adult class, like I said, in 2002. We then started the junior one in 2009, and then we started the teen and the advanced programs in 2014. And since then, we've had about 71 workshops that have been done throughout the whole state, and then over 700 kids have completed it. Well, that means they've got their certificate and patches, which is great. And what makes this so fun is that we encourage the host sites, again, not to sit these kids down in front of a screen, because that's what they do all the time. These kids may get a quick little lecture, and then they're out the door, and they're supposed to be hands-on in nature. And the whole part of our program for the Master Naturalists is we're bringing adult professionals in these natural resource fields. So we bring these adult professionals to these youth, so they get to see these adults from different kind of job careers that are in nature. So a lot of these kids that take these classes are nature focused, and so they get to see these different classes. So what are the classes that are offered during this workshop? So again, it's curriculum based, and it's required that the host sites do these topics. So every workshop has to have 2-hour sessions. So they have to have 2 hours of botany 2 times. So it's 4 hours of botany, 2 hours of zoology 2 times. So that's 4 hours of zoology. And then again, we have then 1 class of geology, 1 class of water, 1 class people and natural resources, and then a miscellaneous class. And again, it's 2 hours. So you think like a day camp. That's how we encourage, again, these host sites to do it. They will do 2 hours in the morning, maybe from like 9 to 11. They'll do a class, and then they'll have their lunch break, and then they'll do a 2 hours after the lunch break. And then after that, the second class, then they do service time, because one of our goals for the Master Naturalists class is that adults and the youth need to put in some service or volunteer time to become certified. Okay. For the juniors, they need to put in 6 hours of volunteer time. For the teens, it's 12 hours. So again, during a 1 week workshop for these kids, you can easily get 6 hours of volunteer time in during that week. If you time it right, you can do that. So a lot of these kids and the teens can also get almost all their hours in, and a lot of them will complete them right after the class, so they get their certificate. I think it would make this as hands-on as possible. And it's so fun because you just work with the kids and you just do what you think. If you're a nature lover, you want to teach the kids what you enjoy. So that's what we encourage these host sites. So these are just some pictures of a camp that I do here at Obatche State Park. That's where I work out of. So we have kids go out. Again, Here was one learning about lake biology and lake animals. And just so happened our lake was dry. We had drained it that year. So we learned a lot about the lake bed. So we were able to go down into the lake bed and find all these shells and what was underneath the lake. And so it was really fun. The kids loved going down there when we had no water. And then of course, a lot of hikes. So we do encourage when people want to do these classes with a master naturalist, again, getting these kids out. The youth need to get away from the screens and get them outside. And we found a lot of these kids that take this class do have this nature focus, and they just love being outside, and they could hike all day long. Again, we have professionals that come. Here we have the Nature Conservancy that came and did really great mushrooms. We had 2 hours with these kids' mushrooms. I'll tell you, the adult volunteers and even I learned just as much. We give the kids, part of the programming is you give the kids some field guides, they give some hands-on worksheets. So they all got these really neat laminated folded field guides of mushrooms. And so we went out off the trail, mind you. Again, these are kids. You can't structure them too much. So we do allow them during this time at a state park, they're allowed at a certain area. You didn't go off the trail. So we were finding mushrooms off the trail, and kids, that's what they enjoy, getting out, not being so structured. And of course, the whole time they're screaming, this is Nate. They're screaming Nate's name. All I heard was Nate the whole time, because every kid was fighting mushrooms, and he couldn't get anywhere fast enough because everyone was fighting a mushroom. It was so fun. And then of course we do have a lot of volunteers. So when our adults go through the Master Naturalist class, they need those volunteer hours. They come back to a lot of these junior and teen workshops and give back, because they're giving back what they learned. So here we have, he's a master gardener. He has a master gardener name tag on, you can see. Plus he's a master naturalist. So he loves trees and he loves botany. So during our 4 hours of botany, so we have 2 classes and 2 classes different day, he enjoyed teaching them about the trees. And again, structure, we don't want it structured, we want them to be able to touch and feel. So we're not holding them back. We're like, touch the tree, look at the shape, look at the color. We're looking at red buds. We're teaching them, it's a heart shape. And so you can see he's showing the leaves. We pull down the leaves so they can touch them. Again, we always encourage hands-on, hands-on, hands-on. So here are some teens, and they are building a birdhouse. So it's a fun thing. You know, of course, the teens, you get a little bit more harder to teach. So you want them to get more advanced classes. So again, building something like this is really impactful. And then sometimes we'll have them build 2, one that they take home and one that they donate somewhere. So again, they're trying to give back. So you're teaching them, you know, why it's important to build this first for the bird, and then why it's important to give back to the community. And then of course, you know, a lot of these kids, some of them they've never been fishing, they've never been on a boat. So again, hands-on. So that's what we're trying to get. And these are, again, you know, 10-year-olds clear up to the 17-year-olds. So they go out, and again, we have volunteers out there helping them do the fishing. And again, we make them do them themselves, bait at their hook, try to get the fish off the hook themselves, row the boats. So get them out there, and they're learning. So here we have the fishes for our zoology class, and then the boating, again, they're going out learning about lake ecology and how that works. And then the service time, of course, part of that day at the end of the day is during service time, so giving back. And I tell you, the kids seem to enjoy service time the most. I don't know what it is. They just get out there, they're working, and they just know they're giving back to the park. So here's another, so that previous slide was our juniors. So here, this slide is our teens working hard with our volunteers. So we give the teens hard work to do. And then of course, the reward. You know, I know these are teenagers and they are too cool for things like this, but I know they enjoy getting an award after the end of the week. So they get certificates, they get patches, they might get something else from that specific host site. So here we have some of our 10-year-olds and 11-year-olds getting their certificates and patches. And this is the thing, these 4 girls, or these 5 girls, did not know each other until they took this 1 week-long camp. They are lifelong friends now. The middle child there, Lily, she was just recently adopted. So they had an adoption party for her. And these 4 girls were invited to her party. And this was 2 months after this workshop. So these 4 girls came to her adoption party because they're best friends now. And they are waiting for next year to take the class again. So, you know. So this is Simon. I just want to show, here is a 16-year-old. He was our first ever to earn all 4 patches: a junior patch, an advanced junior patch, a teen patch, and an advanced teen patch. He was the first one ever to do this. This was about 5 years ago. So of course we had to get a picture of him, but he's just a great example. He searched out with his parents to find workshops that had offered this junior or teen naturalist camp. And he took them at 2 different sites, Salamone and Obachi, just to complete all 4 patches. So it was thankful to his parents. Again, we love parents that are very support the teens that really want to get out in nature. So he was just so proud to earn all 4 of those patches. He did it in 3 years. He took it 2 times in 1 year to get the junior and the advanced junior, and then the next 2 years took the teen and the advanced teen. So it was really neat. And then just my last example, if you can teach the kids right, and you're able to host these workshops year after year. For example, at Obachi, we host these 1-week junior teen camps the second week of June every year. We've been doing it since 2009, pretty much 2009, we've been doing it. So it has, you have the same kids that come back year after year because they love it. They want to get out and learn nature. So we do a little bit different things each year. So here we have, her name's Jeree, and Jeree came to us in 2016 at age 8. And this past summer, in 2022 at 14, she has came every single year to our camp. And so she started as an 8-year-old, and now she's doing the teen camp. And now next year she will be one of our mentors, because once they turn 16, we have them come back and be mentors and take the camp and help the younger kids get them outside. So I just want to show you how it can really, really impact young kids, especially if you're positive, and show how beautiful nature can be and how exciting it is with all your hands-on teaching. Bring those professionals in and just say, you can be one of these people when you get older, and you can have someone like Jeree who comes to the program every single year. But again, I could go on and on and on about it. But the Indiana Master Naturalist program, again, it was adults focused, and then we have these kid programs, and the kid programs are just taking off. We are seeing so much of them, and the kids seem to really love it. And we're so thankful for our host sites that tried to do this and bring those kids back every year. So there you go, Carla. I hope that was what you wanted.
That was wonderful. Thank you. You really just showed just how the experiences of being in nature can really build. And I think of that girl who went through so many years, and that young teen who went through and got all of the badges, what their experiences are going to be like in nature, and how that's going to impact them for their whole life. And even the children that are just there for the 1-week summer program and then do their volunteer hours, that still makes an impact. And there's something that I've been reading about in research. I do academic research around like tree climbing and loose parts in outdoor classrooms and such, but it's this extinction of experience, and we're learning more about things through videos and direct learning, direct teaching, and some things like that. So we're circumventing having that actual hands-on experience with it. So these kinds of things really allow people to have experiences. One of the research articles we read was about oobleck, that cornstarch in water. Oh, yeah. And this girl was in 7th grade. She knew all about non-Newtonian fluids, but she only knew it through videos and in-class instruction. She never made it. She was so excited to be at a STEM fair where she actually got to make her own oobleck and experience it herself. So giving those experiences to our tweens and teens is really, really important, I think. So thank you so much. I appreciate it. We've also got Angela with us as well, and she's going to share about the STEM Connection and some of the things that they're doing with teens there.
Right. I have a few slides as well. I'm Angela Fitzgerald, and I just got to pop over here and move my people so I can actually click the right button, right? There we go. I'm Angela Fitzgerald, and I am the Director of Programs for the STEM Connection. And if you're not familiar with us, we are a nonprofit, and we are located on the northwest side of Indianapolis. And we do work to educate and empower children and adults in the principles of science, technology, engineering, and math through hands-on learning experiences. So, and everything we do, we try to be out in nature as much as possible, nature connected. All of our summer camps are pretty much entirely outside unless, we can't be out there safely, but we try to just connect kids with nature and connect them with all sorts of different opportunities to have hands-on experiences and kind of connect with the world around them and gain some skills that will be helpful to them kind of today and into the future. And when I saw the opportunity to share about kind of connecting with tweens and teens, I was pretty excited because prior to working with the STEM Connection, I was a middle school math and science teacher. And I just find that age group really interesting to work with. So, they're just trying, they're figuring out their place in the world and kind of what their interests are and what they might be interested in doing and kind of the things that they're passionate about. So I jumped at the opportunity to share about our STEM Future Leaders program, because a lot of the programs that we have are geared more to that, kindergarten through 5th grade or so kind of age group. And then a number of years ago, as some of our participants were kind of aging out of those programs, they still wanted to stay involved. And we wanted every opportunity to keep them involved and keep them, learning more about STEM and experiencing nature with us. And so our STEM Future Leaders program kind of just naturally came out of that. And that is a program that we have that's specifically designed for students that are 6th grade and above. So those middle school and high school students that still want to be involved. And then, so kind of thinking about that age group, you have your little kids, your elementary kids, and, and they love I have 2 daughters myself, they're 7 and 8, and, just going outside to play is just such a thing, they can just go outside and play and explore and be out there for hours. There's parks and playgrounds and a lot of programs to get those youngers kind of, involved. But then you start to think about when they get to kind of that next level, those bigger kids, I think it's not that they're not still interested or that they don't like it. It's just easy not to, right? Like there's so many opportunities to just do something else, on a device or inside that, we have to be a little bit more intentional about providing these opportunities that are really going to be interesting and appealing to those older kids. So when we think about, and there's all of our interns from this summer. So all of our high school kiddos and a couple college students there that joined us this summer as our interns. But when we think about our STEM Future Leaders programs and the opportunities that we like to provide for those older kids, there were a few things that kind of popped in my mind that we like to do to kind of encourage that engagement with the older kids. Because with our STEM Future Leaders program, we have opportunities for STEM Future Leader day camps and huddles where they can come together and work on some different things. And then a week of summer camp specifically designed for that older group. And so when we're designing a program, we have to build in some different pieces to make it more appropriate and appealing for the age group we're working with. And a few things that help us kind of do that, that we've found some success with, are utilizing citizen science projects as kids are really thinking about the parts of the world that they like. They might be an animal lover, or they might find trees really interesting. And there are all sorts of citizen science projects that are great for middle school and high school kids to get involved and get outside into the world and make observations and collect data. And it's real. They're really helping these scientists and naturalists and ecologists that are doing these studies. So one that we participate in at our site, we're on the northwest side of Indianapolis. So Eagle Creek actually runs through our property. So we participate in Hoosier River Watch. And that's part of the STEM Future Leader program, is they go out and they monitor that creek. They take their qualitative and quantitative analysis of the creek, and they monitor that a couple times a year and enter that into the database. And they're doing real science. And it also helps us know, the state of our waterways. And so, anyone throughout the state, if you are nearby a creek, a river, a stream, one of those moving bodies of water, Hoosier River Watch is great. We've also engaged in a few others, backyard bird count, there's pollinator counts, iNaturalist challenges, just getting them out and making those observations kind of with some intention and with something relevant that it's connected to. It's real science. So they're gaining those skills and, getting to participate in that process. There was another, I just came across this article with the 20 citizen science projects for students of all ages that list a whole bunch more, but you can really kind of hone in on the interests of the kids. If they're really interested in butterflies, doing some sort of, pollinator count or butterfly. I think there's a, cabbage white butterfly project. And so there's lots of different opportunities to kind of, connect with what's interesting, but then also kind of make it real and relevant. Going along with that too, and I think we've heard this a little bit earlier, is connecting with those STEM professionals. So finding those folks that work in those outdoor settings or kind of with nature connected jobs and careers, and getting a chance to have them share with the kids. This summer, we were able to work with a park ranger and doing an orienteering challenge for the kids where they got outside and they spent the whole day kind of taking on different challenges, and they had to find where they were going just based on maps. So they're gaining those skills. Or we've had restoration ecologists come and talk about invasive species and then kind of help us go out and, search for those and try to work on that. So just connecting and helping those kids think about what might come next as they're starting to think about, some of their aptitudes and what they're interested in, and just giving them those times to connect with those people that kind of work in those worlds. And we can do that formally or informally. Sometimes we just have, during our STEM Future Leader huddles, we invite just some STEM professionals to come in for a lunch and learn, where they can just chat with the kids during lunch and share their STEM journeys and kind of how they got from, kind of middle school, high school, and beyond, and kind of what got them to where they are now. And utilizing those STEM professionals also sometimes leads into some of these project-based or service-based learning opportunities. This is a picture that's an example, in our own place and space, we have like a 30-acre urban farm location where we are, and there's different spaces, on the farm for different types of learning opportunities. And we had our STEM Future Leaders think about a particular space that wasn't really being utilized, and what else could we do with it? How could this, what could we come up with to help enhance other programs? And they came up with this whole exploration station where they set it up with the bales and the stumps there and mulched it. And now we can set up different provocations there for other programs. And the kids really take ownership in that. They're helping to improve our program, our space, our community in a meaningful way. Or the invasive species removal, they help with that. They understand that invasive species can do a lot of harm. So how can we kind of fix that? So thinking about a problem or a need in their own community or right in the area where they are, and then getting a project together to help solve that or to help make improvements. I think kids of this age love to actually see like the tangible results. So like transforming this area into something, totally different was just really rewarding for them. There's, I think, another picture maybe coming up next where a problem at summer camp. It's really hot. How can we help keep the kids cool? And the STEM Future Leaders came up with a project to have this water feature that you hook up the hose and, it helps to kind of cool the kids off during the summer. So just, those real situations where we can put them in. And then also providing, giving them opportunities to develop their leadership skills during other programs that we have. So they're invited to come in and help at our other day camps or summer camps as a mentor in training or a mentor, or then even an intern. And, they lead the hikes or they help lead other activities, and just, they're outside during all that programming, and the little kids love seeing the bigger kids there. And it really sets the example to kind of keep that going, that enthusiasm going. So those were some that like really kind of stuck out when I thought about, connect. Oh, there's the little water feature that those guys created last summer. And it's a whole project, because the younger kids have to figure out how it goes together to make it work. And then they get to enjoy kind of the fun of it as well. So that was just kind of quickly a little bit about our STEM Future Leader program and working with those older kids and the different ways that we found some success with that. There is our website if you want to check out more about our programs or kind of sign up for our newsletter publications. There's my contact information if anybody has any specific questions. And then, we're all over social media, so we'd love for people to connect with us and see what is going on kind of with the most up-to-date information. So thank you so much for letting me share a little bit about our program.
Thank you, Angela. I really appreciate that. It's been neat to see just kind of the connections between the different programs that are highlighted and some of the ones that we'll be sharing a little bit more later. Just that hands-on volunteering, improving things right where we are here, and then the citizen scientist projects as well. And there's that social aspect that comes as well. I am going to open up the floor now. We do have a few people here with us. If you will have any questions that you'd like to ask, now would be a great time to go ahead and share those. And I can come up with some questions otherwise, because I always have lots of questions. So thanks for sharing the Sim Connection slides too, Angela. I appreciate that. Jody, do you want to come back on camera, if you don't mind? You work with tweens and teens in some of these opportunities. So just do want to share a few questions with you all, and maybe even just ask some questions about tweens and teens in general. What would you say are some of the greatest joys that you have working with tweens and teens? I know sometimes people are like, oh, middle school, they don't want to work with that age, but I love that there are people working with middle schoolers because they have some skills that I don't necessarily have as much. What would you say are some of those joys of working with tweens and teens in the outdoors, I guess?
So for me, like I said, we get to see some of the same ones year after year. So watching them grow and just connecting with them on a different level, because even though we only see one time a year, just that 1 week, then they come back. It's like we're best friends again, but it's amazing when you have these tweens and teens and they're outside. I feel like sometimes they act totally different than if they were in a structured, walled room. They just seem more relaxed. They're able to be themselves. And I've always just really enjoyed them and just listening to what they have to say. And like I said, they seem to always be really good for us outside, not around the structured form.
Yeah. The outdoors just seems to calm a lot of children.
Something.
And there's more space, and it's okay to be louder in some of those things. And one thing that I heard from both of you that I've been reading some research about as well is just empowerment. So giving back some choice and voice to the students that we're working with, or the participants that we're working with. And in both of your programs, it sounds like they could go off the trail. They were doing things that they were interested in, that they got to choose as part of what they were doing. And I think for all of us, empowerment is very, very strong and very engaging. I know as part of the Indiana Master Naturalist program, I'm here as a volunteer with that, but I get to choose this as my volunteer opportunity. I have lots of choice with how I do that. And I do want to put a plug in it. If you are an adult, it is a great program. I really enjoyed it. It was great to have some mommy me time, but then also I've done kind of a deep dive into the topics as well. And then any joys that you want to share, Angela?
Oh, I just love that they're just so full of ideas and their perspectives of the world, just hearing kind of from their viewpoint and how they've, experienced the world up to this point, and then what some of their ideas are. And, they're just, a lot of them are so, very idealistic, and they just have these big ideas. And when you can kind of capture that enthusiasm and let them really go off, and they can come up with some great things. And it's so fun to watch. And that's why, sometimes putting it on that, like, what do you notice? Like, where did you notice that our other programs might be missing something? What's your feedback? And giving them that chance to really share their thoughts and ideas, and then watch that whole process. It's so fun to watch. And then also, having some of those kiddos that may have been hesitant before, that didn't maybe really like nature because there was a piece of it that that was intimidating, or they had a bad experience with a bee or something, and then coming back and being able to kind of re-engage and have those positive experiences and then feel like, oh, this is a place for me. Like I feel connected to this particular piece or this particular place, and then kind of letting that go from there.
Yeah, thank you so much. Would you all say that there are challenges to working with tweens and teens, and how you overcome some of those challenges?
You go ahead, Angela.
Yeah, so I think something that we see, I mean, sometimes just kind of getting to that point, we're kind of getting to know them a little bit, getting them in the door. Kids of that age speak with their feet, right? Where do they show up? And so once you kind of get them, I think that's good. I think something we've learned along the way too is, sometimes it takes kind of repeating or kind of rephrasing things in different ways. Their brains just kind of work a little bit differently. So kind of finding the right way to kind of approach situations. You think, oh, we'll just ask a question, but sometimes it's silence, right? And you kind of have to like get them going a little bit, or be ready to kind of have some examples to share to kind of get to the point where, you're hoping to go. But typically with a little more guidance, or just kind of being prepared for varying levels of enthusiasm until you kind of all get to the same page.
With one of my children when he was younger, I was like, push through the complaints. It'll be okay. Once they're engaged, yeah, we can do it. But push through those first 15 minutes or whatever of complaints, and then they'll be fine.
Yeah, or being self-conscious, like they're not always super confident, right? So you kind of have to like pull it out of them a little bit, and give them a little bit more direction at first, and then, be able to watch them gain that confidence over time, because this might be a setting that's not, their favorite place to be at first. And hopefully we convert them, right?
Yeah. Well, when they have such engaging experiences, it really makes a difference. Jody, did you want to touch on challenges? It's okay if you don't too.
Oh, no. No, some things that come to my mind are since we have a group, sure, Angela, you have a group of kids there, we try hard, at least during our camp, to really find pairs of kids that have the same interest and pair them up. We've even been known to we just have names on a list. And so we divide up the names, and then we watch them interact. And then we say, maybe this child in this group would be better with this child in this group. And we actually pair them, because we find that, these tweens and teens, they can be kind of, shy and awkward. And it can even be more shy and awkward if they're with people they don't really seem to get along with. So we try to pair them with someone that they really like. And so that seems to really help us out with those teens and tweens, when they pair them off and they can really hit it off, and they have the same interests, same personalities. That's really helped us out a lot. And another thing that we encourage, a lot of times, kids reflect what their parents' fears are when it comes to nature, squish the bug, watch out for the bee, don't touch the snake, whatever. So when we have some nature kids that are right there and they're reaching for that's, they want to touch this, they want to touch that. Of course, we're making sure it's not poison ivy or something dangerous, but we actually encourage it. Oh, you see daddy long leg? Yeah, go ahead and hold it. And then you have those kids that are a little bit more shy, see these other kids holding it and not being scared. And then by the end of the week, these shy kids that weren't going to touch anything, that were scared, are holding these daddy long legs and holding, going up and touching this and that. And so just, letting, instead of saying, use the word no all the time, it's like, let's look at it first, make sure it's not dangerous. And yeah, go ahead. Let's touch it. Let's, pull that leaf down. Let's smell that flower, so we right side, get them right in there. Because that, really opens up these kids who have never, and really at home, never were allowed to do that, because they're inside and their parents, a lot of parents are kind of scared about being outside. They don't even know how to teach their kids to be outside. But yeah, you have this child that kind of wants to do it, but doesn't know how. So, getting them connected with other kids and really encouraging it seems to help us out a lot too. So that's why I was kind of seeing this question, how do you encourage kids that are fearful, really hooking them up with some of the kids that aren't fearful and showing them it can be okay, but then letting know those kids that aren't fearful to not like throw things at them. They have to really, let them guide and, take their time to encourage the other kids.
Patience with that process. One of my son's friends is just kind of like an animal whisperer, it seems like. And so he gets called to help with the removal of the snakes from the window well, or the frogs. And, he gets called on help. And then children that may have been fearful of it, when they're around that, they're like, oh, I'll touch the snake now. And so it becomes where he almost becomes an ambassador for the animal, just because he's willing to connect with animals in a way that's very authentic to him. And then he shares that with other children, and little by little they become less afraid of it. Angela, there is that question. How do you encourage the fearful kids to overcome their fears of specific insects and animals? I don't know if you have any suggestions.
Yeah, I mean, and we get this quite a bit, a lot with probably 2 examples. I think here we have some kids, we have a barn cat, and some kids are very fearful of cats, and just kind of letting them come along at their own level, but also educating. The other thing we see a lot is the bees, fear of bees, because they know a lot of bees can sting and they don't want to get hurt. And and we have beehives, honey beehives at our farm, and just taking that time to just share some information and some education about that, really spending the time to talk about, even on all of our hikes on field trips, stopping at the beehive. We have one where we can open it up and, just talking about that, bees are really beneficial, and not all bees are out to sting you all the time. And, that there's just, that education piece, just, to let them digest a little bit more information and kind of come around on their own time too. Not like forcing anything, but also giving lots of opportunities to revisit.
Thank you. Audrey, did you have any questions? I saw you with your camera open, and if you have questions, that's great. If not, we're glad to have you either way.
So I am northeast side, so closest to like Fort Harrison. And I run an outdoor play group primarily for little people, but I have a lot of people that are interested, a lot of homeschooling families, and so a lot of people that are interested in teens and tweens. My problem is getting multiple kids together at the same time. Like I can get one family, maybe 2 at the same time, but then getting them to all commit, because teens and tweens have so many more things going on than 4-year-olds. And so a lot of times what I do is I just share a lot of resources. I share out, like, this is a cool idea. I'm not doing it, but someone else is. And looking at the naturalist program, which, like you said, like, I want to do that for me.
It's great.
Are there ones like close to because yes, I do have people definitely in other areas. And so I share from all around central Indiana, but primarily I've got a lot of Northern Marion County and Hamilton County people that are interested.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we have in the Indy area, there's at least 5 host sites in the Indy area.
Okay.
And Fort Harrison is one of them.
Okay.
They have a brand new naturalist that started 2 days ago. So it's going to take probably a little bit of time for them to come back onto the host site, because she has the things, but I'll put my email in the chat, and just email me and I'll send you the whole list. And
okay.
From there, you can find an adult class, and from there you can find out who is possibly going to do a teen or a junior class in the future. And typically our host sites, they need, like you said, they need to have more than one family say they want to do it. They need to have, if you have more than one family say, well, I can bring you 10 kids, I can bring it to you, I know 10 kids that will sign up, then they'll encourage them to host this junior or teen master naturalists too.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Okay. I went onto the DNR site and it said like sign up for updates here. So I definitely signed up for, I'm going to get so many emails, but yes, please send me yours and I can keep in contact, because I do reach a lot of different people and they have different interest levels. So I just try to, put that out there for them.
Yes. Yeah. Just email me and I'll give you the exact host sites in that Indy area. So yeah.
Thank you so much. And I do hope, Audrey, that you'll consider signing up for the ambassador program as well. Since this is volunteer work, I will probably focus my efforts with some of the nature play days, but not all of them, but with tweens and teens, so that my children benefit from it as well. And then I do other things with children that I get paid for and such in this realm as well. But my volunteer stuff, I want it to impact my kids too. And so one idea that I've kicked around with the 4th grader is to kind of have like a book club around nature topics, and then gather together, talk about some of this, but then have those hands-on experiences to do some of the things that were in the book and such like that. So we're reading Hatchet right now, and we've read Paddle to the Sea recently too. And just thinking of all those real life nature connections that you can do as a result of after reading some of those literature kinds of things as well. Just in interest of time, I think that we are going to just go ahead and end this today, and I will probably do a part 2 with some of the other information that I pulled together and such. There are all kinds of resources out there as part of, I mean, just the resources, great resources that we have in the state. I have put some of them up on the Indiana Children Nature Network website as resources for tweens and teens and getting outside. But then I'll go over some of those in the part 2 of this. I don't want to make it too long for anyone, and nobody wants to listen to something for an hour and a half. So we'll just do a part 2, and that will be totally fine. So I've really appreciated having Jody and Angela with us, having 2 professionals in the field that are working with tweens and teens right now, and just hearing their perspectives and their stories. And it really just gives me a lot of hope for our children. We have a lot of environmental issues going on in the future that I don't have solutions to, you know, but I know that we're going to have these divergent thinkers that are committed and dedicated to nature and the things around us, that we can help with them be part of those solutions with their innovative ideas that they come up with and such. So that just makes me happy to think about. And I do appreciate everyone that is making a difference in the lives of children and helping them get outside in whatever capacity within the state. So thank you so much for all of that. Any closing thoughts or anything that anybody wants to share? Okay, thank you, everyone. I appreciate it. Thanks so much. Have a great evening. I'm going to stop recording. If anybody wants to chat informally, they are welcome to.